in 1993 should be provided. May very well make more sense for the state to buy homes that have been flooded so we can avoid having them flooded yet again in the future, with those repairs again paid for with federal flood insurance and other federal assistance. Such homes can be purchased, then permanently converted to parkland or other uses that won't need very costly repairs after future floods. And I might add, we had devastating floods in Iowa in 1993. We did some of this, and because some of those homes were mitigated, they were moved. In fact, I think there was one town, basically the whole town was moved to higher ground, and guess what? They didn't get flooded this time. So a lot of times that makes good sense to do that. We're going to need flexible community development block grant funding for infrastructure repair and home assistance, economic development administration funds for infrastructure, for businesses and jobs, Corps of Engineer funding for repair and improvement of levees, Department of Agriculture support for a whole variety of agricultural things, from repairing conservation structures, soil conservation problems, and cleaning up debris. Every culvert going under these roads all over the state of Iowa are plugged up with some kind of debris. Bridges, all this stuff needs to be taken out, and taken out in a hurry. So we're going to need Department of Agriculture help on that. So it'll be several weeks at least before we can have an accurate measure of the total economic losses and physical destruction. Probably more than that for areas south of Iowa. This water's all moving south, so it's, I hate to say this, I think northern Missouri is about to get hit pretty hard, and absolute southeast Iowa, we haven't seen it hit the absolute southeast of Iowa yet. So again, we're going to have to get a pretty good handle on this, but this is a national disaster. It requires a national response. So, Mr. President, I'm sure that both Senator Grassley and I will have more to report in the days ahead, but our thoughts and prayers are with the good people of Iowa and neighboring states who are still struggling with floodwaters, still picking up the pieces from devastating tornadoes. And again, I want to join with Senator Grassley in thanking so many church groups in Iowa. We saw them, every place with church groups getting together, Protestant, Catholic, evangelical, no matter who, they were all getting together and setting up response teams, doing an outstanding job. It was just so wonderful to see these people come together and organize in that fashion. And of course, in Cedar Rapids, some of the churches are underwater. I may not have one here, but I did earlier. I had a picture. I had some pictures of churches that are underwater too. But the church groups, religious groups in Iowa have been wonderful. Lastly, on a really somber and sad note, I would again express my condolences to the families of the Boy Scouts who were killed up at Little Sioux. A terrible tragedy. And to the families who, some of the kids that were hurt pretty bad. Some of them are still in critical condition. So we're praying for their recovery, their full recovery. But you listen to the stories that come out of that Boy Scout camp, and you see what a good thing Boy Scouts are, and the leadership they provided, and how they pulled together and helped one another. A lot of strong leadership in these Boy Scouts. So we hope their families will take some condolence in the fact that these kids responded in a great leadership fashion. These young kids responded as adults after that tornado hit that Boy Scout camp. And lastly, Mr. President, I deeply appreciate the many expressions of concern and caring expressed by our Senate colleagues. I've gotten a lot of phone calls and messages in, and I just want to thank all my colleagues for their expressions of concern and caring. We'll get through it. Obviously, we'll get through it. Iowa, I think, will be a stronger state. We'll have some tough times. I have no doubt about it. And a lot of people out there don't have much money. You know, a lot of times it's always the lowest income people along the rivers and stuff because, well, let's face it, that's where the cheapest land is, isn't it? That's where the lowest cost houses are. for the most part. I'm not saying all, but for the most part. I've seen some pretty beautiful homes in Iowa inundated by water too, I might add. But a lot of these are just low-income people. They're elderly. They have nowhere to turn. And as a caring nation, we've got to help them put their lives back together again. So we'll be on this every day. I am pleased to hear that President Bush, I just found this out a few minutes ago, that President Bush will be coming to Iowa on Thursday. That will be good. I hope he can see this firsthand and then help us with getting those FEMA matching funds down as much as possible. With that, Mr. President, again, I'll be reporting more in the days ahead, but we're starting the cleanup process now from the most devastating flood I've ever seen in all my years in the state of Iowa. Mr. President, I yield the floor.